The community center in Madrid's Lavapiés district was a far cry from the gleaming facilities where Cristiano Ronaldo usually spent his time, but it was exactly where he wanted to be on this particular Saturday morning. The building was old and weathered, its walls covered with multilingual posters advertising language classes, job training programs, and cultural events that served the neighborhood's diverse immigrant population. Ronaldo had come here not for a photo opportunity or a charitable appearance, but for something much more personal. He wanted to learn Arabic, and he had heard that some of the best teachers weren't found in expensive language schools, but among the refugees who had arrived in Spain, carrying their native tongues as one of their few remaining possessions. The decision to learn Arabic had been building in Ronaldo's mind for months, ever since his increasingly vocal support for Palestinian rights had connected him with Arabic-speaking communities around the world. He had received countless messages from Palestinian fans written in Arabic, had met Palestinian athletes and activists who spoke to him in their native language, and had felt frustrated by his inability to respond in kind. More than just wanting to communicate, Ronaldo felt that learning Arabic would be a gesture of respect toward people whose struggles he had chosen to support, a way of demonstrating that his advocacy went beyond political statements to genuine cultural engagement. The community center's director, a warm Moroccan woman named Khadija, had been surprised when Ronaldo's representatives contacted her about Arabic lessons, but she had immediately thought of the perfect teacher, 15-year-old Amjad Saleh, a Palestinian refugee who had arrived in Madrid 2 years earlier with his family after fleeing violence in their hometown near Gaza. Amjad was not only fluent in both Arabic and Spanish, but he had been volunteering at the center as a translator and tutor for other refugee families, displaying a maturity and wisdom that belied his young age. When Khadija first approached Amjad about teaching Arabic to a famous footballer, the teenager's response had been characteristically thoughtful. "Will he be serious about learning?" Amjad had asked. "I don't want to waste my time with someone who just wants to say he tried to learn Arabic. If he's really committed to understanding our language and our culture, then I'm happy to teach him. But if this is just for publicity, he should find someone else." Khadija had assured Amjad that Ronaldo's interest appeared genuine, and they had arranged for an initial meeting at the community center on a Saturday morning when the building would be relatively quiet. Ronaldo arrived early, having insisted on driving himself rather than bringing his usual entourage, wanting to experience the neighborhood and the community center as normally as possible. When Amjad walked into the small classroom where they had arranged to meet, Ronaldo was struck by the young man's presence. Despite his youth, Amjad carried himself with a dignity and seriousness that suggested someone who had experienced far more of life's challenges than most people his age. He was wearing simple but clean clothes, carried a well-worn backpack filled with books and notebooks, and greeted Ronaldo with a handshake that was firm but not deferential. "Mr. Ronaldo," Amjad said in perfectly accented Spanish, "Khadija tells me you want to learn Arabic. Before we begin, I need to understand why. Are you learning because it will help your image? Or are you learning because you want to communicate with Arabic speakers with respect and understanding?" The directness of the question caught Ronaldo off guard, but he appreciated Amjad's refusal to be intimidated by celebrity. "I want to learn because I've been speaking out about Palestinian rights, and I feel like I should be able to communicate directly with Palestinian people in their own language," Ronaldo replied honestly. "I want to learn because I think language is a bridge between cultures, and I want to build those bridges rather than just talking about them." Amjad studied Ronaldo's face for a moment, apparently satisfied with the sincerity of his response. "Good, then we can begin. But I need to tell you something first. Arabic is not just a language, it's a way of thinking, a way of expressing emotions and ideas that don't exist in other languages. If you're serious about learning, you're not just learning words and grammar, you're learning how to see the world through Arab eyes." What followed was the beginning of an educational experience that was unlike anything in Ronaldo's previous learning. Amjad was a demanding teacher who insisted on precision in pronunciation, understanding of cultural context, and respect for the language's complexity and beauty. He began with basic greetings and phrases, but he explained not just what the words meant, but why they were constructed the way they were, what cultural values they reflected, and how they connected to broader patterns of Arab thought and expression. In Arabic, Amjad explained during their first lesson, when we greet someone, we don't just say hello, we say assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. We're not just acknowledging someone's presence, we're wishing them well. We're expressing hope for their safety and happiness. Every interaction begins with a prayer for the other person's well-being. As Ronaldo struggled with the pronunciation of Arabic letters that had no equivalent in Portuguese or Spanish, Amjad proved to be both patient and encouraging, but also uncompromising in his standards. Arabic is a precise language, he would say when Ronaldo made mistakes. Every letter, every vowel sound has meaning. If you change the pronunciation even slightly, you might be saying something completely different from what you intended. But the lessons were about much more than language instruction. As they worked together week after week, Amjad began sharing stories about his family's life in Palestine, their decision to flee to Spain, and the challenges of building a new life while maintaining connections to their homeland. These stories provided context for the Arabic phrases Ronaldo was learning, but they also educated him about the realities of Palestinian life in ways that news reports and political discussions never could. When I teach you the phrase, Habibi ya Watan, which means my beloved homeland, Amjad said during one lesson, I want you to understand what it feels like to love a place you can't return to carry a country in your heart while living in exile. This phrase isn't just words for Palestinian people. It's a cry from the soul. Ronaldo found himself looking forward to these Saturday morning lessons, not just because he was learning Arabic, but because they were expanding his understanding of Palestinian culture and experience in ways that went far beyond politics. Amjad was teaching him about Arabic poetry, Palestinian music, traditional foods, religious practices, and family structures that helped him understand the human dimension of the conflict he had been addressing in his public statements. As Ronaldo's Arabic improved, their conversations began to include longer exchanges in Arabic, with Amjad correcting his grammar and pronunciation while encouraging his progress. Your accent is getting better, Amjad told him after several months of study, but you still sound like a Spanish person speaking Arabic. That's not bad, but if you want to really connect with Arabic speakers, you need to feel the language in your heart, not just speak it with your mouth. The breakthrough came during a lesson when they were practicing conversational Arabic, and Ronaldo was trying to express his feelings about the Palestinian situation. As he struggled to find the right words in Arabic to convey his emotions about children being hurt in conflicts, he became frustrated with his limitations and began speaking passionately in Spanish about his anger and sadness. Amjad listened intently, then began translating Ronaldo's emotions into Arabic, not just the words but the passion and conviction behind them. Now say it again in Arabic, Amjad instructed, but don't think about the grammar or the pronunciation. Think about the children you're talking about. Feel the anger and sadness you just expressed, and let the Arabic words carry those emotions. When Ronaldo repeated the phrases in Arabic, something had changed. The words came from a different place, carried different weight, expressed emotions in ways that Spanish and Portuguese couldn't quite capture. For the first time, he felt like he was truly speaking Arabic rather than just reciting it. Perfect, Amjad said, smiling broadly. Now you're not just speaking Arabic words, you're thinking in Arabic. That's when you know you're really learning a language. Their relationship evolved from teacher-student to genuine friendship as they continued meeting every Saturday morning. Ronaldo began inviting Amjad to join him for meals after their lessons, where they would continue practicing Arabic while Amjad shared more stories about his family and his dreams for the future. Despite the trauma he had experienced and the challenges of being a teenage refugee in a foreign country, Amjad maintained an optimism and determination that inspired Ronaldo. I want to become a journalist, Amjad told Ronaldo during one of their post-lesson conversations. I want to tell the stories of Palestinian people, but also the stories of all refugees, all people who have been forced to leave their homes and start over in new places. I think if people understood our stories, if they knew us as individuals rather than just as statistics, they would care more about helping us. Ronaldo was moved by Amjad's ambition and his mature understanding of how storytelling could create empathy and understanding. "What do you need to achieve that goal?" he asked. "University," Amjad replied immediately. "I need to study journalism and communications, but university is expensive and my family is still struggling to establish themselves here. I'm hoping to get scholarships, but the competition is intense and my Spanish, while good, isn't perfect yet." Without hesitation, Ronaldo made a decision that would change Amjad's life trajectory. "Amjad, I want to pay for your university education. All of it. Tuition, books, living expenses, whatever you need to achieve your dream of becoming a journalist." Amjad stared at him in shock, unable to process what he was hearing. "Mr. Ronaldo, I can't accept such a generous gift. Teaching you Arabic has been an honor, but I can't take your money." "This isn't payment for Arabic lessons," Ronaldo replied firmly. "This is an investment in someone whose voice the world needs to hear. You've taught me much more than Arabic, Amjad. You've taught me about resilience, about dignity in the face of hardship, about hope despite terrible circumstances. The world needs journalists who understand these things from personal experience." The scholarship Ronaldo provided allowed Amjad to attend the Universidad Complutense Madrid, where he excelled in his journalism studies while continuing to work with refugee communities and maintaining his friendship with Ronaldo. Their Saturday morning Arabic lessons continued even as Amjad's academic schedule became more demanding, and their conversations grew more sophisticated as Ronaldo's Arabic improved and Amjad's understanding of journalism developed. During his university years, Amjad began writing articles about refugee experiences for Spanish publications, with many of his pieces gaining national attention for their insight and humanity. His ability to write about Palestinian issues with both emotional depth and journalistic objectivity made him a sought-after voice in Spanish media, and he often credited his conversations with Ronaldo for helping him understand how to communicate complex political issues in ways that emphasized human rather than ideological concerns. The impact of their friendship extended beyond their personal relationship. Ronaldo's improved Arabic allowed him to communicate directly with Arabic-speaking fans and activists, adding authenticity to his advocacy for Palestinian rights. When he gave interviews to Arabic-language media, his ability to speak at least basic Arabic created connections with audiences who appreciated his effort to engage with their culture on their own terms. "Learning Arabic from Amjad didn't just teach me a language," Ronaldo said in one such interview, conducted partly in Arabic. "It taught me to see Palestinian people not as abstractions or political symbols, but as individuals with stories, dreams, and hopes like everyone else. When you can communicate with someone in their native language, you connect with them in a way that goes beyond words." Amjad graduated with honors from journalism school and immediately began working for an international news organization covering refugee and immigrant issues throughout Europe. His articles, often written in multiple languages including Arabic and Spanish, provided nuanced perspectives on complex social issues and earned him recognition as one of Spain's most promising young journalists. Years later, when Amjad had established himself as a respected journalist and was covering Palestinian issues for major international publications, he would always remember those Saturday morning Arabic lessons as the foundation not just of his career, but of a friendship that had shown him how genuine human connections could transcend differences in background, wealth, and circumstances. And Ronaldo, whose Arabic had become fluent enough to conduct interviews and give speeches in the language, would credit Amjad with teaching him that true understanding between cultures required more than just political solidarity. It required the humility to learn from others and the commitment to see the world through their eyes.